day, everyone, and happy UN Day. My name is Rachel Bowen Pittman, and I have the privilege to serve as Executive Director of the United Nations Association of the USA. Today, my UN Day message is focused on our theme, Nourishing Peace, because our world is on the brink of a major global food crisis, and it will take collective action to solve it. I want to start by asking each of you to think about what you had for breakfast today. Now ask yourself if you know where each of the ingredients in your breakfast came from. We don't usually think much about how the food on our table is produced or who handles our food before it's digested. However, a simple breakfast of just a cup of coffee with toast and eggs is a global effort. It requires hands from around the world to pick, package, ship, and deliver these ingredients, whether it's a tomato for your breakfast burrito or a banana for your smoothie. Every time we sit down for a meal, whether we realize it or not, we are experiencing the effects of a global interconnected world. Now, what if a 100-year flood or historic drought wreaked havoc on the local food supply and the price of a box of cereal or a loaf of bread suddenly shot up to a ridiculous amount you could no longer afford? What if you awoke to the sounds of bombs in your neighborhood and you had to leave your home at a moment's notice, maybe forever? What would you take? What would you eat? Or a global pandemic preventing you from safely going to the grocery store to restock your shelves. Millions of families around the world, including in the United States, can tell you the moment their lives changed forever. The moment that a nourishing breakfast every morning suddenly became a luxury. It's in moments like these that we realize how each and every one of us must rely on one another to survive. And it's in these times of crisis, of extreme drought, natural disaster, global pandemic, and famine, that the importance of the UN's life-saving mission becomes clear. Let me give you some examples. This past year, UNICEF brought clean water and sanitation to 41.7 million people. With the guidance from the United Nations, the Black Sea Grain Initiative was signed in July by Ukraine, the Russian Federation, and Turkey. This reopened a path for commercial food exports from Ukraine back into markets that desperately need it most. The World Food Program is moving 5,600 trucks, 100 aircrafts, and 30 ships to the field every day, giving assistance to over 128 million people around the world. And it's not just UN agencies like the World Food Program, the UN Refugee Agency, or UNICEF that are making a difference. From launching community projects to drive local progress on the Sustainable Development Goals, to meeting with your local officials and members of Congress to rally local support for the UN's life-saving mission, UNA USA's members are showing up and speaking up. UNA Southern Arizona chapter raised $200,000 in donation through its gift store and an anonymous donor to provide funds to UNICEF's relief efforts in Ukraine. In New York, UNA Westchester chapter's young professionals spearheaded a Westchester-wide food drive to support Feeding Westchester, a local nonprofit that sources and distributes food and resources to feed people who are hungry in every town in Westchester. The initiative succeeded in collecting and donating an incredible 560 pounds of food. In Michigan, UNA Greater Detroit provides resources for water testing and provided bottled water to Flint and Hamtramck, Michigan, after lead was found in their water. In Florida, UNA Broward worked collectively with local community organizations to send earthquake relief to Haiti in 2021, as was previously done during the 2010 earthquake. Direct deliveries of canned goods, diapers, baby food, feminine hygiene, gloves, and first aid items to Haiti were arranged through Food for the Poor and Holy Sacrament Episcopal Church. These are just a handful of examples out of many that represents how you strengthen the UN's foundation by thinking globally and acting in ways that you can. Just like 77 years ago today, we are living in unprecedented times and facing historic challenges. Climate change and COVID-19 have shown just how interconnected we all are and why we must work together. That's exactly what makes the UN so unique and so essential. It's the only forum that brings together world leaders from 193 countries to address global threats and find shared solutions. So what we're going to do next. I'd like to close my remarks by asking you to join me right now in taking collective action to support full funding for the UN. Please take out your phone and text UN Day to 30644 to see a list of advocacy options for UN Day. Once again, text UNDAY to 30644. A link will lead you to our site, and you can see how to call or email your members of Congress to ask for full funding and post. You can also post on social media to inform the public of the UN's work and much more. And it's not enough if only you and I support the UN. So please ask your family and friends to help spread the word about the extraordinary work being done. Thanks to your leadership and advocacy, the U.S. is supporting the UN so the UN can support the world. Your voice matters. Your action matters. Your support matters. Tomorrow morning, when you sit down to breakfast, when you pour that first cup of coffee or eat that slice of toast, or if you're like me, an apple in a cereal bar, I hope you will remember the global community of people who made each bite possible, and how all over the globe, UN humanitarian agencies are making sure families in need can depend on a nourishing meal when they need it most. Thank you, and happy UN Day.